It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission really is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are really necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And today we have the one and only Eric Twiggs, who's on. Now, he's someone I had a chance to recently talk to, like on the phone. We're talking about in the last maybe week or two, by the way, but certainly someone I've admired from afar. I've had a chance to be a social media stalker. I'll say it like that, by the way. He's written several books that he'll definitely talk about. He's also in charge of the What Now movement. We'll find out what all that's about. So let me welcome the one and only to the platform, the man himself, Eric. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Shay, it is an honor to be on you. I didn't even know that you were stalking me like that, man. I'm really feeling honored now that Shay Brown was stalking me.
Well, yeah, I try to hit the like button sometimes. Sometimes I'm just watching, and I admire your consistency. I admire what you're doing. And we have a lot of colleagues in common, and isn't that what life is all about? But for those folks that are watching, let me just jump into it if I can, because the number one question since we have this topic, procrastination. Two-part question, which you can handle. Number one, what does procrastination mean these days? Because it means different things to different people, right? And number two, why do entrepreneurs or adults struggle with procrastination, although it's something we've been told about our entire life? I'm guilty. I'm raising my hand, by the way. I'm at the top of the line. Take it away, man.
So procrastination these days is when you are putting off something until tomorrow that really should be done today, right? And you can't confuse prudence with procrastination, for example. Like there's a season to prepare, there's a season to do research, but there's also a season to take action. When it's the season to take action and you're delaying, that's officially called procrastination. And then here's the issue with entrepreneurs is that you don't have a boss, right? So it's easy to fall into procrastination with things that you don't want to do, right? Task aversion is one of the leading causes of procrastination. And I think it's so prevalent is because there's a lack of awareness as to what triggers a person to procrastinate. I talk to people and they say, Eric, I always procrastinate. That's technically not true. Like I have yet to meet a person who procrastinates in every aspect of their life. Some people procrastinate on home tasks, but at work and in their office, they're on point, and then vice versa. So really, the fact that there is a lack of awareness as far as what are the specific triggers, that's why it's such a prevalent issue today.
Okay, now just talk to Shay Brown. Don't talk to anyone else. I have some very valid reasons, right? So you're saying, you act like I just want to procrastinate. And I'll just give an example. So I'm a caregiver. My mom's 75 years old, wonderful, has Parkinson's, going through a lot, still has all her mental faculties. And so I can use that as a crutch. Sometimes I have a long list of things I'm going to get to that I don't get to day after day after day. And sometimes it's taking care of an urgent matter. Sometimes it's my team. And so where is there that line between straight up, if that's a word, procrastination versus, Eric, you understand, I got a lot going on. Some things I just can't get to.
Well, I think the key is prioritizing, right? So a lot of times the problem isn't having too many things to do or having too many things on the to-do list. The real problem is not knowing what to do next, right? Because again, everybody, especially entrepreneurs, like I don't know of an entrepreneur who's complaining of boredom. Like no one says to me, Eric, I'm just so bored. I just have all this free time. I don't know what to do. So the key is all about getting good at prioritizing. So when you go into your day, you know what the key priorities are and that you're attacking those things. You may not do all the things you want to do, but at least you're attacking I have 5 key priorities every day that I'm working off of. And my goal, I know I've won for the day if I knock off those key things. So yes, there's always going to be competing things, but I need to make sure I've got to focus on what the priorities are.
So what do you do when you don't knock it off? right? I mean, maybe it happens for you every single day, but let's just talk about Shay Brown. I mean, because I use the day one calendar. I'm a big fan. I'm on day 838, I think, right now for the 5-minute journal, right? So I put down what I'm grateful for at the top, and then below I put down a list of things I'm supposed to get to that day. What are your, I say, here's the question. How do we stop ourselves from beating ourselves up, right? Because I'm guilty of always saying, I could have did more. I could have done more. I could have done more. And I'll beat myself up so bad sometimes. My wife be like, oh, no, you did great. Look at all the stuff you got done. Like, no, I could have done more. The question, how can we not beat ourselves up when we don't get to things and it doesn't fall into that procrastination bucket?
Well, it goes back to awareness, and you have to talk to yourself with grace. You have to talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. I know for myself, there are times I've said things to myself like I wouldn't say to my best friend. And if I said them to my best friend, we wouldn't be friends anymore. And so it's about the awareness to know that, give yourself that grace. And what happens is when you make a mistake and you give yourself the grace, it's easier for you to move forward. So like one of the things I do a SWOT analysis on myself on a weekly basis, and I'm putting down as a part of that thing where I fell short. And then throughout the day, so if I make a mistake, or if let's say I didn't get to do something I said I was going to do, I just write it down. So that helps to get it out of my head, and that helps with the process of making sure I'm talking to myself the right way.
They're watching, saying, "Man, Shay, this guy's got it going on." I mean, was there a time in your life? Well, here's the question. What's the backstory, or you would call the origin story, that led you to have such passion to write a book about procrastination? Was there something that happened in your life that led you there? Tell us the backstory on why you're so passionate about, stopping people from procrastinating, which seems to me to be an act of God, but you're doing it, man. I mean, you're one of the leading experts that make it happen. What's the backstory?
So here's the backstory. For me, it started at Hampton University. It was my senior year, and I talk about this in the book. I'm having this conversation with my good friend Donnell. Now, Shay, I have to confess that Donnell and I, we were a little different, right? Donnell was all about his purpose, and I was all about the party. And he was always giving me a hard time, like, Eric, man, you need to get serious. You need to figure out what you want to do. You need to focus. And I'm like, man, Donnell, loosen up. We have plenty of time for all of that. Are you coming to the frat party with me or not? So several weeks go by. He and I don't talk. I get a phone call from his mother informing me of the fact that he was killed in a car accident. Changed everything for me. It sent me a message that maybe I don't have the time that I think to leave the legacy that I want to leave and to do the things that I want to do. And from that moment on, I have been focused on how am I spending my time? Am I procrastinating? What can I do to be more productive? And that's one of the main reasons that you and I are talking right now, because of that experience.
What are maybe 3 things you're like, okay, entrepreneurs got their notes out right now. I know you guys have already Googled Eric. I know you've already looking at his bio below. You're probably even thumbing through the book right now on his page. But if he said, look, here are 3 things that you need to write down right now that will help you not only stop procrastination, but be able to be more productive. So these are his 3 secret productivity hacks. Now I'm going to ask him to do that on the spot because he can handle it. What would those 3 productivity hacks be? And you watching, or you listening right now, pull over if you're driving, by the way. We don't want you to get in an accident, but you might want to write these things down because he's the leading expert. This is what he does for corporations and for entrepreneurs. And now you get to directly benefit. Your 3 productivity hacks to stop procrastination. Great. Give them to us, please.
Great. Number 1 is to focus on your wins. WINS, right? If I were to ask the average entrepreneur, tell me everything that's going wrong. Oh, we'd have this long flowing conversation. Oh, this customer did this. I lost this, that. If I said, tell me about your wins, it'd be a short conversation because our brain isn't wired that way. We're wired towards negativity. So get in the habit of focusing on your wins. Your win is anything that's promoting your personal or your professional health. It could be a small step forward, but it's a step that's directionally correct as it relates to your goals. I would encourage you to get a win log, right? You write in wins at the top, You're writing down the positive things. And what I found is that the more you write down your wins, the more wins you'll have to write down. That habit can make a huge difference in how you feel and make it less likely for you to procrastinate because you'll be in more of a positive state of mind. Number 2 is getting in the habit of making appointments with yourself. So instead of doing like I used to do and say, I'm going to write a blog post this week, then it would be Friday at 5:00 and I hadn't written anything. Say, okay, I'm going to write a blog post on Wednesday at 2:00. But here's how you have to do it. You have to make the appointment with yourself. What's the day, what's the time, and where is the place? Day, time, and place. The studies show that when you have the day, time, and place, you're 40% more likely to follow through. And you can just get out your Google Calendar and notate it, have it remind you. Now, here's the thing, though. You have to treat it like an appointment with your best friend. I know I'm bringing up the best friend again, but an appointment with your best friend. If you were meeting your best friend at the cafe, you wouldn't just not show up and not call and be unaccounted for. So you have to treat that appointment with yourself like you're having an appointment with your best friend. And then number 3 is I call it the Twiggs Top 5. That's where you take a 3x5 card, and before you start the day, you write down your 5 key priorities that are going to move you closer to your ultimate goal. What are the 5 things that you need to do before you start your day? Make sure you have this written down, and you'll find, and then as you accomplish each of those priorities, you check it off, and that's building dopamine in your brain, and you're feeling like you're accomplishing things. So you may have a lot of priority, a lot of things going on, but if you're getting your top 5 done, that you're winning for that day. So those would be my top 3.
What do you do for fun, man, when you're not out saving the world? Because I love how you're saving the world. Like just now, you're like saving the world. I'm like, okay, if I just implement one of these, and if I could be consistent, you probably heard this before, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with, myself included? It is consistency. But I'm curious on the other side, because I'm going to implement one of those hacks. I like that, schedule time with myself, because I don't do that. What do you do for fun, man, when you're not saving the world?
So when I'm not saving the world, I'm spending time with my family, going to family events. I mean, my son runs track, and I'm just amazed at how much faster he is than I was at that age. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm spending time with family, spending time with my wife, spending time with my daughter. My daughter's a cheerleader, so going to her events. That's where the majority of my free time is going now.
Now, are you one of them dads that's out there screaming and yelling? Like I used to watch my sons play ball, by the way, and I'd be out there and trying to coach. And I didn't play ball. I wasn't that good, by the way, at all. I wasn't good at sports at all, by the way. But I'd be out there trying to coach and all that stuff. And my son wanted me to stay as far away as possible. Does your son banish you to the stands, or are you that guy on the sideline?
Shay, I have to confess, I'm that dad, right? So when he's running, I'm yelling, "Go, Eric, man! Be a savage!" Yeah. And so he's always like, "Dad, that's embarrassing." Yeah. All my friends are like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, I'm that dad. Yeah.
I get it, man. Congratulations to you. You must be awful proud of both your son and your daughter. So great job. Tell us about the What Now movement. Did I get that right? The What Now movement. What is it? Who's it for? And why does it exist?
So we started this back during the pandemic, and it started because I'm the founder along with Ted Fells and Dr. Sharon H. Porter. So before the pandemic started, we wanted to work together because we admired what each of us were doing in our respective areas of expertise. We said, we're going to join forces. We're going to be like Shay Brown. We're going to have these events, and we're going to have, we're going to inspire people. It's going to be great. But then the pandemic happened and everything got shut down. And we asked ourselves, okay, what now? And then we noticed that there were people in our respective circles that were saying things like, hey, I've got an idea for this venture, but I'm going to wait until things get back to normal. And we said, that's the last thing you need to do. You need to ask yourself, what now? And that's really where the What Now movement was birthed. So our mission is to help people to pivot when they face a challenge instead of just stopping, right? You pivot. So we create inspirational content to motivate people to pivot. We do summits, we do master classes. We have the What Now Movement Facebook group where all this content is located. We have a book that we've written called the What Now Mindset, where we share these inspirational stories of people who've overcome unbelievable challenges and really moved forward towards their destination. So that's the What Now movement.
I love it. Congratulations. If someone is curious, the first part is they want to say, I need to be part of this What Now movement, right? Where would they go so they could join on? Because I've been sitting there saying, I'm going to do this at some point. Where would they go?
They can go to our website, thewhatnowmovement.com, and they can leave their email address, and that will connect them to everything we're doing. So whenever we're having a summit or whenever we have something coming up, and they can also join the Facebook group as well. It's the What Now Movement. You can just hit the join button, and I promise to let you in. So
I love it, man. I love what you're doing. We're speaking to the one and only Eric Twiggs. You can find him over at, I believe it's www.erictwiggs.com. Is that right? Is that the right site?
ericmtwiggs.com.
I'm sorry, ericmtwiggs.com. Don't get that right. www.ericmtwiggs, TWIGGS.com. Don't worry, I'm going to ask him later how you can best connect with him, because that might not be the best way, but some of you might be already over his website because you're peeking there. I'm curious, along this journey, I know you've had so many mentors, probably, some that you've got a chance to sit down with and speak with, and maybe others were through the power of these fiber optic lines like you and I are doing right now. But what's one lesson did you learn from any one of your mentors? And I know it's hard for you to do that, but along this journey of life, he said, Shay, I'm going to reach back and I'm going to grab this one principle, this one idea, and I'm going to pay it forward to the audience. And you that's listening, or you that's watching, you can kind of lean in right now because you get the benefit from a lesson that he's used and implemented, and now you can pass it on. So I guess the question is, what's one of the lessons you learned from your mentor that you can pass on to us?
Well, I would say, the biggest lesson I've learned would be, it really just starts with my mother, right? She's a mentor to me. She was an educator, but the importance of really being careful who you surround yourself with, right? And making sure that, that you are surrounding yourself with people who have the results that you want, right? And that because they say success is mental, but success is really environmental, and just really making sure that, and especially the people you're taking advice from, you really, before you just run and act on what they suggest, you have to ask yourself, do they have the result that I want to have? Are they at the level that I'm aspiring to? So just really seeking out. So now, like, if I'm looking to do something, a new venture, my first move now is looking at, okay, who's done it already, and then what can I learn from them to save myself from bumping my head.
Thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate that. And for entrepreneurs out there, you kind of shared one of your challenges in the area of procrastination. But a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching, some of these folks are dualpreneurs. They're individuals who have to get up every day and take care of their families, and then go to the office with big responsibilities, and then return back home with more responsibilities on their business. What's one of the challenges maybe you've had as an entrepreneur, and you learned a lesson from it, that you can also pass on to the audience that's watching now?
So the big lesson is,
just say, hey, Shay, I've had a perfect entrepreneurship journey. There's no problems in mine at all because I don't procrastinate. I don't make any mistakes. If that's you, it's okay to pass. It's okay to pass. I don't want you to feel pressured, by the way.
No. So, I even go back to when we started the 30-minute hour podcast, right? And I just had this thing that, oh yeah, we're going to be the next Joe Rogan. Yeah, I just knew that was going to be the case. So we just literally pressed record and just started talking. I could have been a lot more strategic, right? So that's a lesson. And there have been times in the past where I wasn't as strategic as I could have been. Really, like, nailing down, okay, who is my target audience, and what's the ideal outcome that I'm looking for? What's the timeline? Who, what am I offering? What's the problem I'm solving? So really gaining clarity on that. So Shay, I always tell people when it comes to the 30-minute hour podcast that when we first started, I was on the friends and family program, which means that only my friends and family were tuning in.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to be that way if I had embraced more of a strategy and began with the end in mind. So that's a mistake. But I think we've learned from that. And the podcast right now, we've got 853,000 total downloads.
Congratulations, man. I know that feeling. It's an amazing feeling. Now with so much stuff all over the place, it makes it harder but easier. So thanks so much for sharing. Thanks for being vulnerable, man. I appreciate that. Where can folks best connect with you? For folks that are listening right now and they're like, okay, we got Eric M. Twiggs here, and he's a speaker, which is pretty cool. He's a coach, which is pretty cool. He runs a business, which is pretty cool. And he's an author, which is pretty cool. And so the two-part question is, number one, who's your ideal client today, since you've narrowed that down? So that'd be good for the audience to know. And then how can they best connect with you? Because you do so many things so well, man.
Oh, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. So my target client is the 7-figure entrepreneur that's looking to go from good to great. And to connect with me, you can visit my website, ericmtwiggs.com, and you'll see my contact information. And if you wanted to set up a strategy session, that would be the best way to do that. And you can also go to the 30-minute hour. We're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you can subscribe. And that way you can get a feel for what I talk about, what my focus is, and how I can best help you.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. We have a segment here, and I'm going to encourage you all first to connect with Eric M. Twiggs. So go over, like I said, www.ericmtwiggs.com. He has a lot of things going on his website, so you can read it, you can learn more about him, and get his book, by the way. Get his book. But more importantly, if you're a 7-figure earner, have a conversation. I promise you, it'll be a good use of your time. He and I had a chance to talk, and it was a good use of my time. So mark it on your calendar and make an appointment with the one and only Eric, by the way. It'll be a good use. We have a segment here, Eric, called Today is My January 1st. And today is my January 1st is one of our mantras at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And for those folks that are tuning in for the first time, we'll tell you about that. And for all the folks that are tuning in regularly, thank you so much. We appreciate you, your family. Glad you're here. But today is my January 1st represents a do-over. It represents a fresh start. It means your past does no longer equal your future. In fact, you can tell yourself that right now, that today, in this moment, is my January 1st. You don't have to wait till December 31st on the back of a napkin. I'll say that, writing down your goals at 11:59 p.m. It can start right now in the moment. So my question to Eric is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, number one, what do you hear? What does that mean to you? And what was one of your January 1st moments, man?
So what it means to me, it's all about the fresh start, right? And you're more likely to take action, on January 1st, because you feel like it's a new year, it's a new opportunity to move forward. And for me, every day is January 1st. Now, it just didn't happen that way for me, but I'm just at a point where, because in my past, when I was first starting out, I had this habit of hanging on to mistakes, right? So I've made a mistake, or I didn't hit a goal, or did something I wish I didn't do. I just hung on to it, right? Whereas now, it's like if I make a mistake, I write it down, like I said earlier, and I'm focused. And I always have like my vision board and pictures of the goals that I'm pursuing. So if I'm letting go of my mistakes, every day it's a fresh start. Every day is like January 1st, and I can move forward with hope. I may have failed yesterday, but yesterday ended last night, and today's January 1st.
Says so well, man. Thanks a lot for sharing. I certainly appreciate that. As we come down the home stretch, for those folks that are out there watching, I'm going to ask if Eric would have some closing comments, right? Some closing comments to kind of close us out. But first, before you do that, Eric, tell them once again how can they best connect with you. So do that. And then let me first say also, thank you, man. We appreciate you being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We do realize you can always make more time. You can do that. I mean, you can always make more money. You can make more money. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. So you've blessed us with the most precious resource you have, which is really your time. So thanks a lot. Close it out, man. Whatever your final thoughts or comments are to empower, to inspire those folks that are listening and tuning in now.
So my final thoughts relate to this pattern I'm noticing, right? I talk to people and it's like they have to have all of the information before they get started. They're doing research. They need to, find this out, find that out before they can move forward. I think it's critical to understand this, that you can't allow perfect to become the enemy of progress. Focus on what's the next step you can take that's directionally correct, and that'll move you to that goal. It could be a small step, because you just never know. One step leads to another. Sometimes you can't see the next step until you take the first step. So that would be my thing. Don't allow perfect to become the enemy of progress.
Love it. Once again, everyone, give it up for the one and only Eric M. Twiggs, who's on the show. Again, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, by the way. I want you to know as you're listening that you're amazing, that you're already incredible, and that for you, as you're watching, as you listen, no matter what's going on in your life, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, for those folks that are curious, again, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember this, though. Time is long. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. So you got to live in the moment, and you got to make it count. God bless you. We wish you success. Thanks a lot, Eric, man. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again soon. Peace.